Hi guys, it's Stock Curry, and there's been a lot of talk about an upcoming 2023 recession. Some people say it will happen, some people say it won't. I'm going to explain what's really going on, and I'm going to show you what the experts have to say about it. So let's get into it. The S&P fell over 2% on Tuesday, finally closing the day down 1.4%. This is the fourth straight day in a row that the S&P 500 has fallen as recession worries have jolted the markets. The question is, will a 2023 recession actually happen, or is this just a bunch of FUD being spread around by hedge funds who want to see the market fall? Well, let's take a look at what CEOs have to say about an upcoming recession, because CEOs, especially bank CEOs, have probably the best insight into the U.S. economy. America's top CEOs are all preparing for an economic slowdown, even if they didn't specifically call out a recession. JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon said rising interest rates, record inflation, geopolitical pressure, and other factors could coalesce into a recession. The CEO projected that the elevated consumer spending of 2022 will not last much longer and underscored the risk posed by rising interest rates as the Fed works to curb inflation. Walmart CEO Doug McMillon said he does not want a recession, but he thinks it might be a necessary evil to ease inflation for his customers. McMillon said, should the Fed do what it needs to do, even if it is a much harder landing than we'd like? I think inflation needs to be dealt with. United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby said that his company is entering the year with optimism, but that 2023 might see a mild recession induced by the Fed. And Union Pacific Railroad CEO Lance Fritz said shipping is slowing down, a sign that consumer spending is tapering off and that the economy is tightening. The housing market has clearly slowed, and the parcel packaging has clearly slowed, and we are seeing that in paper and parcel shipments. The Fed is trying to hit all of us in the line of fire with a slower economy and hurting demand. It's not good. Jamie Dimon went on to say that inflation eroding consumer wealth may cause a recession next year. Consumers have $1.5 trillion in excess savings from the COVID pandemic stimulus. Inflation is eroding everything I just said, and that $1.5 trillion, it will run out sometime by mid-year in 2023. JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon said that when consumers run out of money, that is when we are going to see a hard landing or a major recession starting sometime in the second half of 2023. And Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon said that his company is preparing for a possible recession. Mr. Solomon said he expects stocks and residential real estate to be lower a year from now. But there are also a very, very reasonable possibility that we could have a recession. Mr. Solomon also cited growth in government debt around the world as a potential risk. And Mr. Solomon, as well as other bank CEOs, including JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon, sounded a warning that things could get worse. Goldman officials cautioned that they were seeing cracks in consumers' ability to handle their debts. We're already seeing this with auto loans, with a huge number of consumers unable to pay their auto loans. Automobile repossessions are currently at an all-time high, and when consumers are unable to pay their auto loans, usually their mortgages are next. Starwood Capital's Barry Sternlicht says Fed policymakers will see that they blew it with interest rate hikes. He thinks the Federal Reserve raised interest rates too fast, and that points to a recession looming. Sternleak said the economy is absolutely going into a recession, and it's absolutely definitive. Look at the yield curve. It's the steepest it's ever been. Well, let's look at the yield curve, and it's not the steepest it's ever been. True, it is steeper than it's been in 40 years, but it was steeper back in 1980. 1980 was the Paul Volcker eras, which saw interest rates skyrocket, mortgages go to 18% APRs, and we saw 3 major recessions in a row back to back to back. So it's the worst since literally one of the worst economies in history. And layoffs continue to mount as Morgan Stanley cuts about 2% of its global staff. This impacts about 1,600 of their employees. BuzzFeed also announced that they were cutting 12% of their workforce, or about 180 staffers. So far, we've seen most of the layoffs occur within the technology sector, but now we're starting to see layoffs occur within the financial sector, as well as other sectors such as news. This is not a good sign because it means layoffs are now spreading. They are no longer limited to just the technology sector. And as layoffs spread throughout the economy, this is going to significantly impact jobs. Now, this ultimately is what the Federal Reserve wants. They want the job market to tighten, they want the number of available jobs to come down, and they want the unemployment rate to rise. So far, it looks like all signs point to that happening, and it happening at a faster and faster pace. Now, there is at least one group of people who say a recession is not inevitable, and it's possible that the market can rally. That group is financial advisors. Now, whenever you hear somebody say that the stock market can rally and a recession is not inevitable, you have to think very clearly about who is actually saying that and what are their motivations. Financial advisors are saying the stock market could rally and we might not get a recession. What is the motivation of a financial advisor to say that? Well, financial advisors make money when people invest their money with them and when people buy stocks. That's how financial advisors make money. So financial advisors have a financial incentive to get people to invest money into the stock market. So they're going to say anything such as the stock market is about to rally and a recession isn't going to happen in order to get people to invest. They will literally lie in order to make money. And that appears to be what's happening here. So just because some people are saying that a recession won't happen, and just because some people are saying the stock market will rally, you really have to understand who those people are and why it is that they're saying that. And once you do, you very quickly realize that they have a motivation to prop up the stock market and get people to invest, even if what they're saying isn't true. And if the looming recession wasn't bad enough for stocks, Meta's targeted ad model is now facing restrictions in Europe. The European Union is now limiting the ability for Meta to advertise based upon users' activity in the exact same way that Apple did. This is going to have a significant impact on Meta's ability to make money in the European Union, and it's not just going to affect Meta, it's also going to affect companies like Amazon and any other company that gets a large amount of its revenue from advertising. Unfortunately, this means that beatdown stocks such as Meta and Amazon will continue to fall as their advertising revenue continues to decline. We already saw the significant impact that Apple's changes made on the ability of these companies to make money from advertising, and now we are about to see the same impact throughout all of the European Union. This is not good news for these stocks, and I do expect them to continue to fall, which in turn will help bring down the indices and the overall market. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. Now is a great time to start cashing up and building up your portfolio values in cash so that you can buy the dip once this recession is over. And Moomoo is offering their best promotion ever this month. If you deposit just $100, you're going to get 10 free stocks. That is the best they've ever offered. And if you deposit $1,000, you're going to get 20 free stocks plus an entrance into their $60,000 giveaway. So use my link in the description below to take advantage of that. And you can sign up for Moomoo at stockcurry.vip/Moomoo. That's stockcurry.vip/Moomoo. And go get your free stocks with just a $100 deposit. I hope you enjoyed this video and got a lot out of it. Be a good friend and share this video with your friends and family so that they will know what's going on in the market as well, and they can start getting prepared for a 2023 recession also. And make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. And if you want some detailed information on what's happening with individual stocks, I did a 1-hour live stream yesterday where I went over a dozen different stocks in detail and explained exactly where I see them going in the future. If you're interested in knowing where each individual stock is going, then make sure you watch the last video that I uploaded here.